welcome back. So now that we've talked about author qualification, let's go ahead and talk about bias. So at this point, you would have already chosen which of these sources you think is least relevant based on bias. So let's, like we did with author qualification, let's just run through each of the sources and talk about, some question marks or some positive things. It could be either or. So the first one is we do have, of course, Stanford. Now again, Stanford is considered highly respected in universities, especially in the research field. And so there are, usually there are sort of ethical constraints and accountability that is built into an institution that's been around as long as it has and that's been at the forefront of a lot of research. However, they do receive billions of dollars in money every single year. And because they're a private institution, they don't have to tell us where they got that money. And that could be a problem, not saying that it is, but the question mark is if they're getting money from a particular, let's say, political group that is trying to get a particular type of legislation passed. And that could be either end of the spectrum when it comes to this particular topic. So it could be that they're doing research and proving one way or the other that, let's say, gun reform is being passed. And so it's, they are saying that this is actually helpful. So the question mark would be, are they receiving private donations from lobbying firms that are pro-gun reform? The opposite would be, are they coming to conclusions that are saying that, there doesn't need to be any gun reform, that there actually needs to be more gun rights that are added. And so the question mark there is, are they receiving money from lobbying firms that are actually pro-gun rights instead of gun reform? So all of those things kind of come into play when you're thinking about where is somebody getting the money. The old adage is follow the money. So where are they getting funded, and could that possibly be something that could be used to discredit whatever research they come out with? So then the next one is we actually have the principal again. And again, we talked about, and one thing that I didn't mention in the last video, but that might be relevant, is we talked about the fact that, he has been a principal for 10 years and that he published this book, but we actually don't know anything about his educational background. So the question would be, did he actually get an education degree? Because if it's a private institution, you are not necessarily required to have some kind of degree in order to teach at that institution or to actually be in the administration. So if it's a smaller religious in a K through 12 school, then you might have the pastor who is also serving as the principal. So that, I'm not saying that means that there would be a conflict of interest or bias per se, but because we don't know that, there's a question mark of, did he actually get a degree when it comes to administrating? Has he actually taught before? Does he know what it's like to be in the classroom? Because that may change what kind of policies he would put into place when it comes to safety. The other thing is he has a for-profit business that is centered around certifying teachers and administrators in the local school districts on safety. However, we don't know, just like we don't know with the actual book, we don't really know how much of that is on preventing gun violence or any kind of shooting, or what would happen if there was some kind of mass shooting. So there's that, but then also because it's for profit and because we don't know his educational background and there's question marks with his qualification, is he someone who wants to, who has some kind of stake in the game? Is he someone who, part of his livelihood is coming from having people consider that mass shootings are occurring and that we need to be prepared to deal with any kind of shooting that might take place in a particular school. So that would be different from, say, if it was a non-for-profit institution. So he wasn't actually getting paid for it, but he was going around and volunteering his time to help people better prepare. And then the last one is we come back to the journalist. So kind of like what we said before, she's very central in Rochester, and another piece of the puzzle is that one of her uncles is actually a city councilman. So she is interviewing a range of different community leaders, but one of the people that she includes in her article, her newspaper article that she published, is her uncle. So he not only is her uncle, but he is someone who is up for re-election in a district that is very concerned and committed to, it doesn't say which part of the argument when it comes to gun violence his community is for or against, but then also we don't know which part of that, what are his policies that he's putting into play, whether it's for gun reform or it is for an extension of gun rights. However, because we don't know that, there's also this question of where her loyalties lie, so how unbiased she's going to be able to be because this is a family member. So all of those are question marks. We don't have the answer for them, but they are the type of questions that you will want to ask yourself as you move forward. Okay, so now you get to go explore credibility. See you in a bit.